Hello, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's messages. We're going to be doing this for December 18th to the 24th of 2018, winding down the year. Say hello if you're hopping on Facebook. And I don't know, I still don't know what I want to do today. Maybe we'll just lay a few things down and see how it goes. And then don't forget, January readings are out now. And the 2019 love and relationship readings are out on Patreon. So lots and lots of stuff to look at. The annual overviews for 2019 are out as well. Hello, hello to everybody hopping on. I'm just going to get started pulling some oracle cards and we're going to just see what happens. All right, first thing, we have transition. So this week is going to be full of integration. I think you're going to be receiving a lot of information that's going to help you make some adjustments this week. So doing some fine-tuning before the year begins. Remember that you might want to start dabbling and trying a few things out, especially if you have a New Year's intentions or resolutions or actions that you want to take. Sometimes you want to get started now, and then if something isn't working, you can start to make some adjustments and then go from there, and you'll be more ready to go when the new year arrives. I'm pulling one more of these. We have spiritual suffering. It's okay to be experiencing some level of pain, right? Like being embodied can come with pain. Now, the suffering piece, it doesn't have to turn into suffering. I look at suffering as, you know, it starts as pain, but if it begins to fester, then you're getting into the suffering territory, and it doesn't have to get to this point. So just remember, if a transition is uncomfortable, if it's painful, if it's frustrating, that doesn't mean it has to evolve into this, because you're having a human experience. Remember to separate these two things, because sometimes if you over-identify with the emotions that are coming up around any type of transition, you can kind of get lost in that rabbit hole. So just be cautious with that, be aware of that. And let's pull some Sovereign Oracle. Remember, these have one word and then 3 phrases that goes along with it. So pay attention to whatever sticks out for you with these. First thing coming up is friction. We were already talking about this. Receive the gift in the conflict. Empathize with opposing viewpoints. Remember that when rough surfaces rub together enough, the final result is smoother. And that is absolutely true. That's what's happening here, is the transition is what's causing the friction. It's just something that is going to smooth out, but you're going to need to give it a little bit of time. So be patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up, especially if you are having a hard time or if this is kind of a testy week. And then we have ask. Requesting aid takes courage. Verbalize your need for support. Give someone the gift of being an important part of your hero's journey. Delegate it to your guides. Okay, lean on whatever tools, resources, communities, relationships that you can. I also am reading that this is somewhat indirectly related to any of the transitions, obstacles, frustrations that you're having right now. It's like you're getting up underneath it or finding support as you're walking through something. It's not just about, you know, asking for something directly. Sometimes it's just, hey, I don't know what to do with this, and then dispatching it to an angel or whatever it is that you like to work with. Let's pull one more of these. Surrender. Let go of changing things outside of your control. Don't let the drive of your ego get in the way of your true peace. Release the need to win. Abso-freaking-lutely. Surrender, I always have mixed feelings around the idea of surrendering, because it's like there is a lot of action that you can take, right? It's not about being powerless in this situation. It's encouraging you to let go of the aspects that you cannot change. That's the big thing that's coming up with this. So remember, it's not about, oh, I can't do anything about it. It just means that you kind of need to loosen your grip a little bit. And I think that leaning on support or having other people hold space for you, if that's what you need, is going to be a great tool for you. So just keep that in mind. And then I'm going to pull a Truth Bomb card. This deck is kind of big. It's hard to shuffle on camera. But let's see what's coming up here. We have you can and you will. Ooh, yes, yes. I don't even want to pull another one. That one is just perfect this week. You can and you will. I think there's a lot that's happening, and when things like transition and spiritual suffering and letting go are coming up, as far as the messages, it's reminding you that there's a lot of bugs that are being worked out at this time. I strongly recommend that if there's one thing that you can hold on to, it's that your track record for getting through things is 100%. Right? You've overcome, anytime you've been in a slump, it's shifted. So look at the historical patterns that things change, things are impermanent, things are not always never or forever, right? So it's when you work with that gray area, it's going to help you loosen up and feel into all the ways that you're expanding. My goodness, this is like kind of an intense week ahead. I also think we have the Cancer full moon on the 22nd. So that could also be why, you know, the sun is moving into Capricorn and you have that full moon, and it's just, there's a lot of things going on. So take this week with a grain of salt. It's not an indication of what's lying ahead. It's showing you that you need to just accept the downloads that you're getting and trust that things are kind of unfolding the way that they need to, but you're going to get to where you want to go. You can and you will. It's going to shift. Okay, the central energy for you this week is the Knight of Cups. Being really bold and true to yourself, authentic as far as your thoughts, feelings, perspectives. Remember that whatever you have coming up this week, your feelings are valid. That's really what this is about, and having ownership over those feelings. It can be one of those times when you might feel that you're wrong for feeling a certain way. But never in my career and working with people the way that I have I ever seen a situation where someone's feelings weren't legitimate in some way. Even if it's irrational, even if it's something that doesn't make sense. A lot of the time you can trace that feeling back to either an origin point or something that makes a lot of sense, that justifies the feeling. So just remember that. Your feelings are valid, even if they don't fully make sense to you right now. There is a point in which they do make sense, even if it's not this specific situation. I'm sorry if this is too abstract. Let's go ahead and see what the crossing energy is. Ten of Pentacles. So the foundational piece here is maybe your habits around the way you're dealing with your emotions or what you're doing with the emotions. It could also be that there's a lot of energy that's working in your favor in terms of being able to turn a new leaf, like being able to speak up and just setting forth in a way that is for the long term, the new approach that you want to take in these types of situations or around your communication and the way you express yourself. So there's like this blend of emotional development and foundation that's kind of being laid down this week. Let's see what's shifting out for you. Six of Wands. This was high speed intensity. This is the victory card, like charging ahead. I think that things were probably moving really, they were moving forward, easy breezy, going well. Maybe you got a breath of fresh air and it just looks like there's a little more data that you need to collect, a little more that's still being shaken out, especially with Sagittarius season. This is a total Sagittarius card from what I'm seeing, like that overreaching, overextending, expanding really quickly. And then this week, that's going to shift. We're working with something different. So it seems like it's going to put you more into your emotions rather than having you focus on action and expansion. The oncoming energy is the Seven of Swords. I'm going to clarify this one. Let's see. Three of Cups. It could be a little bit of withdrawal from people. Don't be surprised if you feel like you kind of want to go hide in a cave for a little bit or take some time off, or if you're extra sleepy, because this is showing like walking away from, and then this is socializing, partying, having a good time, having lots of fun. I think there's a little bit of pullback from that, especially if you have a lot going on with the holidays, is sometimes you need a break from that, and it can be really intense and exhausting. So this just seems like there's a need to slow down quite a bit for your own sanity, for your well-being. But I think that this is super temporary. This is just like in the next week or so. It's not energy that's that far out. So give yourself a break, let yourself feel whatever needs to come up. Don't judge yourself too much. I'm just going to pull some other cards and see what messages want to come through. I'm doing it free form for now just to see. The Magician. Cards that represent manifestation have been coming up a lot lately. This is the time of year when people start to focus on their goals, focus on what they want to make happen, set their intentions. And remember that you don't just need a new year to do that. It's something that you can do continuously. You can do it all year long. Maybe that's even your intention, is to manifest more or to be more diligent. You guys know that I say this a lot. It's better to be intentional about what you want to come into the space that you have created rather than passively manifest. You know, that's something where you can actually manifest wounds, and instead of doing that, it's going to be a good idea to focus on what you want, what you desire, what feels right, best, and true for you. Okay, so it's just emphasizing that you're going to want to do that again this week. Keep that in focus. Then we also have the Ten of Swords. Letting go of perfect pictures is going to be great for you this week. I'll clarify this one as well, but to me, this looks like you having an exact idea of the way that you want things to go, and that type of rigidity is not going to support you this week. It's simply not. The energies are shifting a little bit. You have a lot of things that are working out, so don't buy any extreme thoughts. You can, just because it's a thought doesn't mean it's true necessarily. especially if it's a fear-based thought. So any catastrophic thinking, say, okay, all right, look, I get it, but I'm going to be skeptical of this. Maybe that's not the way things are going to go. And that's a gentle way to help shift it, is just through questioning and skepticism. 10 of Swords clarified. We have the 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, it takes work. You're going to have to apply yourself and just keep reminding yourself, because it's one thing to like take action on a negative thought, right? That's what we don't want to do. And it's another to just get curious about it, give yourself a little bit of room to breathe. There are up days and there are down days. There's peaks and valleys. Your mood isn't always going to be joyful and excited. And if you have that expectation, you're in for a rude awakening. You cannot experience joy unless you have down days. If you were to be in the same state the entire time, you would not have any variety, you would not have any contrast, you would not be able to experience true happiness or true sadness without the contrast itself. So just remember that this is what being embodied as a human is. Okay, so then we also have the 8 of Pentacles making an appearance again. This week is going to take work. It might be kind of freaking exhausting. Look at all this work this spider just put into making that web. You know, that took some time. So give yourself a little bit of time. Don't get too stuck in the perfect pictures, like I said. A lot of this is going to shift this in the next couple weeks. And then we also have the Emperor. You're building a foundation in some capacity. Be intentional with what that is. And it's going to take some work. So you're getting there. It's just that you wouldn't want to build something to completion if there were still things that needed to be worked out beforehand. It's kind of like you don't want to build on top of something that's broken. That's not always the best course of action. I'm just going to grab another deck, see what we have coming up with this oracle deck. Okay, so the first thing that we have coming up here is Mysterious Mother. There's probably some information for you in either... Ooh, there's a lot of patterns coming up with this. But think about the way that you nurture yourself. Think about the way you give to others. This is striking me as any type of codependent patterns, overgiving, undergiving, especially during this time of year. You know, people have a tendency to overgive. And it's like being generous and giving and loving is super great and healthy and wonderful. But it's when you get into servitude and self-sacrificing that it becomes dysfunctional. So make sure you're keeping an eye on that if you have a history of putting yourself on the back burner. And just know that your body and mind are capable of incredible things, truly, and you can heal from just about anything, right? If not absolutely everything. So I'm just getting called, that's the other message that's coming up with this, is that healing is possible for all types of ailments of the physical body and the mind. So that is an important thing to keep in mind if you're struggling in any way with either of those. Next, we have No Bull. It's going to be a straightforward week. I think that, you know, everything's pretty cut and dry for now. Not a lot of gobbledygook. coming through. It just seems like you're able to see clearly. And then I'll pull one more of these. We have Death of the Deceitful. This is very similar to the No Bull card, where it's just like you're really coming to terms with you being able to be your full self. And maybe that's shining through in environments where you can't be yourself. Sometimes you need the contrast. You need to know what not being yourself is to feel into being yourself, and vice versa. So just know that that can also be a part of the process with whatever it is you have going on this week. Now I'm just going to do a 3-card pick and wrap up. So go ahead, you can pick a card, any card, pick as few or as many as you need. Ask a question if you'd like. Okay, card number 1. King of Cups. Again, we go back to the idea of being honest with yourself, being honest with your emotions, being honest about what it is that you need. This is a great time to advocate for yourself and just continue to affirm the types of things that feel good to you, what you need, what you want, and this is a good sign that it's like if someone is being hurtful or anything like that, or there's something that you don't like, you want to be just as honest about that as well. You want to be just as clear about what your boundaries are, because the King of Cups has mastery over emotion as well as emotional boundaries, which especially if you're dealing with family is one of the biggest offenders of crossing emotional boundaries. Stay on top of it this week. Then we have 6 of Swords for card number 2. Maybe you're dealing with some turbulent waters right now. Okay, that can absolutely be coming up with the 6 of Swords, or this is highlighting a transition. So it might be that you're phasing out of something and emerging into something new. It can also be that you're having some instability at this time, and then it's smoothing out. So one way or another, whatever you're dealing with is shifting. So just see it through before you throw in the towel. Card number 3, we have Strength. Beautiful. Whatever comes your way this week, there's going to be... It's like you're going to come out of the woods, so to speak. And the Strength card is just showing that you have a lot of support. You have a lot of the things that you need. Even if you can't see it right now, it's still there. So it's like reminding you to trust, reminding you to see things through, reminding you that you have way more power than you probably give yourself credit for. And you can and you will. That's something that is going to be continuing throughout the week. So give yourself some credit. And I think that after this week, things are really going to start improving. So hold space for things to shift, get better, improve, for your manifestations to roll in. Hold space for that, and you're going to see it evolve. All right, my friends, that is all that I have for you this week. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this reading as much as I've enjoyed reading for you. And if you are interested in the sign-specific weekly readings, they are available on my Patreon. And don't forget, if you want the 2019 love and relationship readings, those are also available on my Patreon. And the January readings come out on January 1st for love and relationships on Patreon. So, make sure you check that out if you're interested. If you want to work with me one-on-one, it will be in the description box below. All the links down there will be available for you to check out. And January readings are up now on YouTube, so check those out, and I will talk to all of you later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.